Alright, so this is a coloring tutorial sort of thing. It's like a speed paint, but a little bit slower than my usual one, so I can talk over it and explain more. Basically, all I'm doing right now is filling in basic shapes. Her hair isn't going to be pink, but her hair is like a really dark, it's a dark color, black, brown, whatever. And I can't really see the line art when I'm coloring it in, and I need to see it so I can, get a good fill. So I'm just doing it in pink for now, and then I'm going to change the color later by doing transparency lock. I'll use that a lot later, and I'll put an image up on the screen here to show you where that is. And I forgot her eyebrows, of course, and her eyelashes, so I'm just doing that with the black color. Yeah, and I'm pulling colors from another image. And then for each layer of color, I'm just doing it underneath the other layers. So I start with the hair usually. I don't know why, just a preference. You can do whatever. Yeah, I usually do hair, skin, and then clothing bits. I don't know why. It's just how I do it. And I try to group my layers by character. And so I'm gonna do all of her bits first, and then I'm gonna go into another section of layers that are him, and they'll keep it a little bit more organized. The tool I'm using to fill it in is just the like the pen tool or whatever, so there's no variance and opacity, and I get a nice even fill. So just use whatever tool in your art program that does that best for you. It's probably going to be like the pen tool. I don't know. Yeah, this is really boring. There's a lot of it. A lot. This takes a while. You gotta do it nice. And how I'm coloring underneath my traditional line art is I have it set to multiply, so you can see the colors through the white, and I'm coloring underneath of it. This paper actually is originally brown, so I have to like desaturate and then play with the brightness and the contrast to make it white instead of brown. That sort of thing. But white paper, that's easy enough. You just stick it on multiply and then color under it. And also for her dress, it's white, and so that's another thing. I can't really see the color, so I switch it to a slightly darker color so I can see it. And then I'm going to do the transparency lock thing again to switch it to the color that I need it to be later. So yeah. And then I'm going to use the transparency lock a little bit later for the shading. Yeah. I guess just finish watching the rest of it. It's pretty simple, basic like that. I don't know, I guess I could explain what I did with her arm. Yeah, I'll do that. Because that's a little bit off the norm of what I have to do to get effects. Basically, you saw earlier that I colored like maybe halfway down her forearm. And just with her skin color, and then I went on a layer underneath and I did the scale color. And then I went back to the skin layer, had the transparency lock on so I didn't go outside of the colors. And then I just did a gradient to the yellow with the watercolor tool. And that'll get a little bit weird to shade later on. You sort of have to do a lot of weird blending. It's weird. You'll see what I do. I switch layers and pull colors from different places to make it seem like it's all together. I'm doing the same thing with his arm, and you can pay attention to what I do a little bit later when that comes up. Yeah, here we go. Arm, filling that in just with the base color for that. and then I'm pulling the color from that. I'm taking with a line art, so I can get an accurate color. Oh, I guess I'm not blending it in yet. Okay. Here you go. Yeah, that's with his arm. This is all on the skin layer, the shading there. So I'm just fading his skin into the scales. That's pretty much it for that step. Oh, and now I'm shading. I'm turning transparency lock on all the layers so I don't go outside of them when I shade them, and I'm just working in that layer. It should be a functionality of like most art programs. I know like Photoshop has it, Medibank Paint Pro has it, Clip Studio has it. I think Firewall Packet definitely has it, Sai has it. I don't know. Look on your art program. If you can't find it, look up transparency lock in whatever your program is. It should be on there. I don't know, unless it's like a really basic one, but it should be there. And that's what I use. And now I'm just using the watercolor tool, and I'm shading with the black first to like get the shadows. I don't know. And then shading his hair the same way with longer strokes because it's hair and you need the shading to be more directional than on just like the skin where it can just be sort of non-directional, I guess. But yeah. Smooth strokes, long strokes, especially for his hair because he's got really long hair. Long, straight hair. Shading her eyebrows and stuff. I took away the line art so I can see better what I'm doing. Because as you can see, the line art sort of obscures some of the, I don't know, it obscures the colors in the shading, so there's that. And I'm going for like a highlighter color, or a mid-tone. I had another highlight later. But yeah, this is like a mid-tone. And then I'm just sort of doing the same thing I did with the black, but, you know, that. Directional strokes. Pretty much watercolor tool. I'm using the watercolor tool for all this shading. Then, I do another lighter color for the highlight. And then that's going to be the last step on the hair. It was part of a live stream, so I was showing some other art. Oh. Not important, don't worry about it. And I'm pulling the color from the skin, then I'm going a shade darker. I guess I'll do a little video on how I choose the colors for shading later, but yeah. Just darker shade, going down from the base color. Like, I don't know. Start from your base color and then use the color wheel and the color picker to go like a little bit down. I tend to do slightly more saturated as it gets darker. I don't know why, just what I do. I've never tried it the other way around. I might have to do it like less saturated as it gets darker. But yeah, I tend to do a slightly more saturated as it goes darker, and I do a little bit of adjusting either to the left or to the right on the outer wheel. Just a tish to like, depending on like what kind of like if I need it to be tinted towards a certain color. I don't know. It's complicated to explain, and it needs a video by itself. Gosh, this video is long. This is why I speed up my my speed paints so long, so they're not like 20 minutes long. Oh well. Keep shading, keep shading. Takes a long time, but you gotta put in the hours so it looks good. Okay, now I'm doing the highlight. Once again, I went from the base color to like to the highlight. Like I color picked the base and then lightened it from that shade. I don't know. And I also tend to do more saturated. I don't know, I just like vivid-ish colors. I don't know. But not too vivid. I also like desaturated colors. They're nice. Everything's nice. Colors are nice. Do whatever you want. Okay, now I'm going for the scales and the other gold bits. They're all the same color, so I just had them on one layer because they're all far enough apart, at least for each character. Hers and his gold bits are on separate layers because I have all them grouped into different characters, that sort of thing. Oh, this is where I'm blending the arm and the upper arm. I just kind of color picked from near where the seam is and like colored it in until it looked like it was seamless. It's really not that hard. You just gotta do it. I guess, okay, so if you want to make something look gold, it's really good to like don't start with like a yellow, sort of have the yellow slightly, just very slightly towards the orange bit, more towards the orange than it is towards the green, and then you want to keep going into the orange and red and more saturated as you shade it. You can get really dramatic with this, depends on what sort of look you're going for. This drawing right here isn't, like, the shading isn't too dramatic and, you know, pop and wow. It's just kind of, I don't know, soft. But yeah, you can get really crazy with gold and make it really weirdly shiny and awesome. It's cool. But yeah, gold is basically yellow shaded with, like, oranges and reds. And then it's weird, like really pure gold sort of has a green sheen to it, so you could probably do that. I don't know, you'd have to like like look at pictures of gold probably to understand. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But yeah, it would just be like a very faint green tint, and then I would probably do that on another layer, like a glow layer, like an add. Yeah, a glow layer. That's like above everything. Yeah. See, I'm sort of getting into the orange here. Yeah. I go with his arm. Just color picking near where the area meets. Oh, and also the mirroring trick, mirroring your drawing to find out the flaws. It works for shading as well. So mirror your drawing while you're shading, so you can like, I guess sort of paint out your issues with the shading. And also my style of coloring, like shading stuff, is like sort of painterly, so it's all on one layer for each of the different sections. I don't do like highlight or shadow layers or whatever. You can do that if that's your deal. I mean, no one's stopping you. This is just what I do. Yeah. All in one layer, baby. Each section. And here I go shading the dress. It's a little bit off-white, so as you can see in the color picking box, it's not all the way desaturated. It's slightly colored a little bit. Just a tish. So it gives it more like an eggshell sort of, or like an ivory. I don't know what the color is. Off-white, you know. You have eyes, you can see. And then you can do this with all different kinds of white. Like, your base color shouldn't really be like white if a portion is supposed to be white, so that you have a place to go when you highlight your white. So, and then if you want, for color unity, you can make the white tinted any color you want, basically. Just like start with the white, the base color to be sort of like an off-white in whatever color you want. It's like, say if you want a pink white, you just go to the pink, whatever pink around the whatever pink you want, I guess, and then make it really like desaturated and like at the top, or maybe a little bit lower. I don't know. So yeah, so just off-white, like a very, very, very light shade of whatever color you want the white to be tinted, and then go shade it with like very desaturated shades of that color also. So yeah, and then for highlight, just do pure white and blend that in. So see, your white has a place to go if you need to highlight it. Then I want the blue. This is kind of a shiny blue. How I do shiny things is like, they don't exactly follow the same kind of shading as the rest of it. Like, I don't know, it has like very distinct bright spots on it, you know? That kind of thing. Where the skin, it's like, it doesn't have like, you know... Oh, kitty. Hello. Yeah, so they just have really white, like bright spots. Not white, but you know, really bright spots on them. That's how you do shiny stuff. Just make it bright. Like drastic highlights. That's how you do shiny. and their eyes. Also kind of shiny, so I guess kind of drastic highlights in there. I don't know. The shiny bit for me comes when I do like a different layer that's got like the eye shiny bits. Okay. Oh, there we go. I have that layer on add parentheses glow. I'll take a screenshot and put that right there so you can see what I'm talking about. And then this is the gold glow. I have this on a different layer, I think, and it's just a slightly off-white. And I have it also on add glow, and I use the airbrush tool to apply that. And then for the eye shine, I think I'm gonna do, oh no, I'm not doing that yet. I duplicated the line art layer, and then I put a Gaussian blur on it, and then I'm sort of lowering the opacity. So I don't know, it just makes it look interesting. Then also adding a little bit of airbrush into the eyes, just a little bit, near where the bright highlight is, and sort of, I guess, in an opposing corner. And then I thought I was going to add highlight to the hair like I did to the gold, but I didn't like the way it looked, so that didn't end up being what I did to the hair. I just threw away that layer. I decided I didn't like it, so. Oh well. That's the great thing about digital art. You can experiment and see if you like it, and then just get rid of it if you don't. And then I'm just sort of playing with like effects here. Like, I ended up using this gradient for something, and I found a layer mode that I liked. I went with that layer mode, and I made it really, really, I can't remember what layer mode it was, but yeah. Just play with whatever, I don't know. See what makes your drawing pop. I don't know. Don't have to do a gradient at all. It's just what I did for this one. And then I tried doing a magic thing in their hands, but it didn't work out. Once again, it's another thing that I just didn't do. I guess I'll make a video about magic effects later, because it's pretty cool. We're nearing the end here, so that's it. I'm just gonna sign it. No, don't forget to sign your drawings and date it. You'll thank yourself later. And that's the end of that. And I'll put in the finished drawing at the end of the video here. And, yeah, bye-bye.